Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. As you guys know, I cover Bachelor Nation news and other celebrity entertainment. Whatever's in the cycle of information I think you might be interested in, I bring to your table. Well, FBoy Island is just that. It is a indirect spinoff of Bachelor in Paradise, produced by Elon Gale, former producer of The Bachelor. FBoy Island on HBO. No real connection to the Bachelor world on paper, just a bunch of former employees that were like, you know what, we can do this and we can do it better, and we're going to do it on HBO. Did they do it better than Bachelor in Paradise, than Bachelor? Leave a comment, let me know what you guys think. In this video, I'm going to recap the first 3 episodes, which I now understand why they dumped 3 episodes in a row, because the 3rd episode had a great ending. The first 2 episodes, I was like, I don't know, I'll watch another one. By the 3rd one, I was like, okay, this show's got legs. It's a good show. But I'll let you know whether or not I think it's worth a monthly subscription to watch. I'll be recapping it right here. This recap will be very much bare bones. You know, for years I never recapped Bachelor in Paradise because there's too many names, there's too many love stories, there's a lot going on. FBoy Island, I think, is a nice merge between the formality of Bachelor and the ridiculous nature of Bachelor in Paradise. So if you don't know any of this, we're going to kind of recap it, kind of explain it all. But first, Nikki Glazer, the host of FBoy Island, does a good job of setting the tone. You'll understand why when I play this clip right here. She sets the tone really well for what we're to expect on the show.
You will get to answer the questions that women have been asking themselves for decades. Do good guys really deserve to always finish last? And do F-boys always have to finish on our face?
That's a good way. Look, I mean, hey, you might not, hold on. Okay, they were turn the audio off. You might not love the crudeness of that. I do. But it does a good job of kind of like as a litmus test of saying like, all right, either you're going to enjoy the show for like playing into the sort of, I don't know, young dating world that exists, or do you want to stick with Bachelor that's like, I give you my rose, doth thou protest the decision to court at the fantasy suite, you know? It's taken all that garbage and said, you know what? We're not going to blur out your butts. We're going to show a bunch of guys with 6-pack abs. We're going to show 3 hot women, and we're going to see if they can, you know, sift through the F-boys and the nice guys. Now, my pushback on this is there are plenty of F-boys that are nice guys and nice guys that turn into F-boys. I think it's really more about the opportunities men have in front of them that really decide whether or not it's like, you know, if anyone's at a all-you-can-eat buffet, they're going to be putting everything on their plate. But if you only have a choice between the chicken or the salad, you know, the chicken looks pretty good. All right, so we have 12 F-boys and 12 nice guys. I think F-boys really speaks for itself. This, by the way, looks like an F-boy outfit. If I button it, maybe it's a nice guy to F-boy right there. I'm too old to be an F-boy. You can't be an F-boy if you're doing your fiance's laundry on Sundays. You don't have any time to be an F-boy. All right, do me a favor. Hit the like button and leave a comment on this video. Encourage me to make more F-boy content, or else I won't. It's really up to you guys. Free market economy. So 12 F-boys, 12 nice guys, 3 women, and the chance to win $100,000. We don't exactly know how they're going to win that $100,000 yet, but what we know is the 12 F-boys have already let production know, hey, I'm just in it for the fun, and the 12 nice guys are like, no, I'd actually like to meet someone and have a relationship and this and that. And the question is, will the ladies end up being more attracted to the F-boys than the nice guys? We'll have to see how that all plays out. So Nikki Glazer opens the show with, hello, I just started ovulating. She literally walks in to all the nice guys and goes, hello, I just started ovulating. And I'm like, this is so great. Like, Nikki's a perfect, because she's very like sexually driven in her stand-up material. She's very funny. She's attractive. She's a perfect host for this show. She really is. I think it's, you know, not to say that relationships shouldn't be taken seriously. I think relationships get to a point where, like, you have to be serious in your intentions, but the playful nature that exists, we don't necessarily get to see play out on Bachelor. The one thing that the Bachelor franchise has missed out on is all the fun that's going on. They'll show clips after the season's over of all the guys having fun, and it's like, where was this in the normal episode? It's become too stiff, and getting these guys out here with their 6-pack abs and the girls in their thong bikinis families really presents the opportunity for more fun, I believe. And The Bachelor used to be like that. Bachelor, Bachelorette, they used to have more pool parties, and I think they got a lot of flack for like objectifying people, whereas FBoy Island goes, look, we'll objectify everybody. It's a bunch of young people with great bodies. That's fine. And I understand there'll be people out there being like, oh, you don't represent certain, and like, I totally get it. I understand, take your fight up with someone else. I'm just recapping the show. So the ladies show up runway style. So let's go through the ladies here. And if you guys have never been part of my recaps, it's a little all over the place. You get what you pay for here. I usually take notes on my laptop, but I was too lazy. So I did it old school where I take notes in my notebook here, and they're not going to be great notes because, like I said, there's too much going on in these first couple episodes. I think once we weed out some guys, I'll explain to you the difference. They have eliminations on FBoy Island, which on The Bachelor, they do the rose ceremony. Same thing. They do group dates. They just don't use the same, terminology, but essentially a very similar setup as they whittle the guys down. And what I like about this is the F-boys and nice guys, they don't just get voted out. They get to go hang in the F-boy area or the nice guys area afterwards. Like, they get to hang with their other rejects, which I think is a great idea. All right, so we have the three ladies, which it's actually a really good mix of three women right here. They do have they all have very unique and different personality types. So I'm not going to go into deep detail on each of them. Nakia, I don't want to say who my favorite is. Nakia. Nakia's my favorite. She's my favorite as far as her personality goes. I think she's fresh and great. And not to say the other two aren't. Sarah's great. I wish Sarah would come out more. You can see how nervous she is in the first episode. She's very don't get me wrong. There's 24 guys that are all like, ooh, watching her do her runaway walk as she, walks in. And so I can totally understand that. CJ Franco is the most trouble. And I mean that with all due respect. She is the most trouble. She knows the weapons she possesses, both physically and emotionally. And she's not giving these guys an inch to run rampant on their F-boy ways, which, makes for great TV. I'm sure she's a great person. So CJ out there kind of as the one who, if you had to rate the ladies as an F girl or a nice girl, I would say CJ's an F girl. I think she would say the same thing. Whereas Sarah, probably somewhere in the middle, and then Nakia, I think she's got like a real pure heart, like she's looking to settle down. And again, this is just what I've picked up on. Let me know what you guys think about that, if you agree or disagree. So the ladies show up runway style: Nakia, Sarah, and CJ. CJ calls herself an F-boy tamer, and it's like, look, it takes one to know one. Like, I'm sure she's dated the SoundCloud DJs. I'm sure she's dated a couple stand-up comedians, and she's like, not on my punchline. The women explore their beautiful villa. So they do the whole thing where they start the episode off, they introduce everyone, and then the ladies go to their beautiful villa, which is really nice, and then the guys get to explore their less nice beach bungalow, which, by the way, the guys' bungalows, I love when these shows show people walking into the new place for the first time, because it's the one thing we can all relate on. Whenever we walk into a hotel, if it's a nice one, we're like, oh my God, we're like pulling out the coffee maker. We're like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? They got the lamps that have the iPhone cord plugins. Oh my God, I'm for $300 a night. So anyway, my point is I'd kick it at F-Boy Ranch. If you guys have any extra space, I will hang with y'all. So they do a pool party group date. I'm sure as the season progresses, they'll move away from the hotel, but they start off pool party. I mean, they're getting right into the goods. Like, they're in the Cayman Islands, right? They're not trying to, the shows, they're set up for success on such a beautiful landscape. Like, The Bachelor this year has been quarantining in Palm Springs, which is fine. They've been quarantining in Nemacolin, which is in Pennsylvania, some woodlands area, getting Lyme disease. They've been quarantining in New Mexico, which is it's like whatever. This show, they said, you know what? We're just going to go to Cayman Islands. We're going to put everyone in a bikini, spray tan them, and just see what happens. So CJ mentions that she has a safe word when she's dating these guys. So if she screams her safe word, that'll be the ladies know to sort of save her. But then she says her safe word's pterodactyl, which is ridiculous because a safe word should be something very I'm a fan of the Red Sox. And she said Red Sox. But who naturally brings pterodactyl into a conversation? Which would be very tough if she falls in love with a guy who turns out to be like a dinosaur lover. And he's like, my favorite's pterodactyls. And she's like, oh, pterodactyls. And the other girl's like, save her. She's like, no, not pterodactyls. This is a good one. She's like, no, that's a pterodactyl arm. All right. So anyway, I like the premise of the show. Not going to like the women. They look like they are ready to... Oh, wait. I like the premise of the show, but it's not like the women look like they're ready to settle down. So I just take my notes and read them back to you as far as how I felt in the second I was watching it. Yeah, it didn't look like these were women who were ready to settle down, but I also was like, I guess this show's not exactly about settling down. It's about finding a guy who's not going to like mess around early on, and maybe together you decide to settle down. So anyway, they do the group dates. Nothing crazy happens. And then after that, they go to the individual dates the next day. Now, the question isn't whether a guy is an F-boy or not, which, we have to decide. They don't. Some of the guys will say if they're an F-boy, but not to the ladies. The ladies don't know any of this. They have to like suss them out. But I think the question is whether or not the girls can reform the F-boys. So maybe find a guy that was a proclaimed F-boy and then win him over, because we all know you're only an F-boy until you're not. You're only a player until you meet somebody who's like, not on my watch, and then you cop some feels, oxytocin gets dumped, and you have a good time, and you're like, all right, that's the one. So there's plenty of ways to reform an F-boy, whether or not these ladies want to do it, and whether or not you and the audience want to do it, that's up to you. That's your prerogative. That's my prerogative. Drama will be dudes calling each other out. Of course, the dudes will be... Now, this is another reason why I like this show, is that on The Bachelor, everyone's like, bro, you're here for the wrong reasons. No, I'm not. I'm here for the right reasons. F-Boy literally draws a line in this thing and said, these guys said they were here for the wrong reasons. These guys said they were here for the right reasons. So this show just calls out the fact that people will be there for the wrong reasons. On The Bachelor, the wrong reasons are wanting their own fame, getting to star on the show, Instagram followers. On this show, the wrong reasons are like, look, I'm just trying to play around with you, Anyway, which was totally interesting that they were able to get this cast knowing the show has no history. Like, it must have taken a lot to like pitch this idea to people, because the show's, it's not like it's season 12 of FBoy Island. So they had to get 3 amazing women and a cast full of guys to be like, yeah, I'm an F-boy, and decide whether or not they were going to like, do well in the show. All right, we move on. So anyway, each lady chooses her bottom 2. Here's the problem. There's so much going on with these individual dates that I didn't cover each date. You're just gonna have to watch the show. I'm not here to like regurgitate word for word what happened, but after every day they do eliminations. So each lady gets to pick 2 of her bottom guys, and then she pulls them up to the panel and decides which one she's gonna keep, which one she's gonna let go. Now, these guys are still dating around, so she could decide to keep a guy that ends up with another girl. Do you know what I mean? So the 3 ladies are working as a panel, and they're not yet fighting over any specific guy, but theoretically, there could be a guy that's into 2 different girls, and then the girls have to fight over the guy. That could happen. We'll have to see. I don't know if the show's going to avoid that sort of trope, but we'll have to see how that goes. It's still early on. So anyway, CJ, she totally took the words out of context with her 2 bottom guys. She was like saying how she got arrested, and guys like, oh, that was kind of toxic. And she was like, you're calling me toxic? And he's like, I wasn't calling you toxic, just the situation was toxic. You got arrested, it's toxic. And she's like, oh, so anyway, she was like calling guys out. She was pretty confrontational, I thought, with some of these guys. CJ was, she's literally like trying to have conversations with them. She picks her first impression guy, and then, she doesn't like the way he jokes around, so she puts him in her bottom 2. Anyway, Nikia's bottom 2. We go to Nikita's, and again, you're going to have to search these guys. I'm not going to pull all of them up. Nikia's bottom 2 is Garrett and Colin. Garrett recites her a poem. Everyone laughs at him. He's like a sexy firefighter. He's a good-looking guy. Do I have a photo of Garrett? Let me see if I can find Garrett here. He's like a good-looking guy, but everyone's laughing at him. Oh, no, this is the other Garrett. There's several. I guess there's a couple of Garretts, right? Anyway, this one, that's not the one. Let's see if we can find the other Garrett. Oh, I don't know. Colin's one of the guys. So Garrett recites her a poem, and everyone laughs at him, and it's kind of a nice poem, and I think she kind of feels bad for him. I don't know why my screen's down here. Sorry about that. Jeez. Hold on, folks. We're shooting it live. There it is. A lot of content to get through today. It's the second to last episode of Bachelor. A lot of content to get through. Anyway, so Nikia's bottom 2, Garrett versus Colin. Garrett recites her a poem. Everyone laughs at him. He's kind of like one of the older contestants, but I thought he was a nice guy. And then Colin is, he's accused of being an F-boy, which I think Colin has admitted to being an F-boy. I think it's pretty obvious his intentions are F-boy-like. So Nikia eliminates Garrett, and then Garrett, of course, is like, sorry, I was a good guy. So after they get eliminated, they say whether or not they were a good guy. So then Sarah's turn. She eliminates Andrew. Andrew and Garrett are nice guys. And then CJ, sorry to go back, CJ's eliminated Peter, who ended up being, he's guy of Korean descent. Seems like a nice guy. He was like her first impression. Like she liked him leading up, starting off. But then turns out he is an F-boy. So one F-boy was eliminated, 2 nice guys. Now after they get voted out, here's where it gets interesting. After they get voted out, and I know this is a lot, you know what I mean? You need to like pop an Adderall to even get through this. After they get voted out, Peter arrives at Limbo, which is between heaven and hell. Limbo is where the ghosts live, right? When you're not into heaven yet. It's like when you're waiting at a club to get in, but you're not sexy enough, or you're like, you've got too many dudes in your party. So they're like, you got to wait out here in Limbo. I've been there before. Excuse me. So Limbo is where Peter goes, and it's literally some outdoor, like, it's real scrappy, guys. There's a hammock, and there's a bunch of bamboo, and they got to, like, try to forage for their own coconuts. Then the nice guys go to Nice Guy Grotto. So the nice guys actually get a good setup. Let's power through this. Episode 2, Sarah wants to sniff out the F-boys, because they were upset. They eliminated 2 nice guys. They're like, oh, geez, we're trying to eliminate the bad guys. They do a 3-way water balloon dodgeball. CJ's into the former Chippendales dancer. She mentions that she has 2 dads. They start to get a little more open up. All right, CJ has 2 dads. I didn't know that. That's going to be an interesting story. Dinesh, am I pronouncing that right? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Calls CJ high maintenance. To the guys. And this is a problem. If you're going to talk trash about any of the girls, the guys are then going to use that information against you. So it's a very cutthroat situation happening here. Their first makeout is CJ and Casey. Casey's a good-looking dude, right? So they had a good connection up front. Let's see if we can find Casey here. So Casey and CJ have a really good connection, and we don't know if he's a nice guy or an F-boy yet. We don't understand that. The guys all wait around the pool until the ladies ask them on a date. So it's very brutal. The guys kind of have to just sit around the pool and hang out, and they don't really know what's going on as far as, like, will she be into me? Like, they can kind of, like, interrupt dates, but it's also, like, this show has really taken away the power that the F-boy is used to having. So the CJ meets a guy named Mark. She friend zones them. She's running out of guys. She's friend zoning a lot of guys. They have the eliminations. Israel is an F-boy. The best part about Israel, he's got this like really like just adorable, endearing accent. I might have lost Israel, but he goes to everyone. He goes, "I'm an F-boy. I'd like to have sex with lots of women." He was just like super honest and nice about it. They're all like, "Oh, we kind of respect that. Like, you're not trying to deceive us." Very nice. Charlie gets rejected. He's a Frenchman. He calls himself a nice guy, but producers call him out as an F-boy. Now, he was like, Charlie was like, look, no, I'm not an F-boy. And they're like, no. And then they were like in Nikki Glazer's ear, the host. They're like, no. He's an F-boy. We have 12 hours of him talking about being an F-boy. And then as it turns out, I don't know. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this. I don't think he meant to deceive anybody. I think he was just like a guy that has done a lot of F-boy things, but doesn't consider himself an F-boy anymore. You know what I mean? Which I think is valid. You don't hold a life sentence for who you were in the past. Chances are he could have reformed himself already. So he looked kind of heartbroken that he was considered an F-boy. Like he wanted to quit the show and then he finally went to FBoy Island. So anyway, he's no longer an F-boy, but he still hangs with the FBoy Island. He's doing his time. Episode 3, 3 new guys show up. There's a group date. They do a beach photo shoot, which is fun because all the guys take turns taking photos with the women. And then the guys that aren't taking the photos with the women are then in the background just heckling them and yelling at them. You get to see what happens when you put a bunch of guys on a group date. And there's a lot of turmoil, if you will. There's a guy named Jared. And then one of the 3 new guys is also named Jared. So they're beefing the whole time over Nakia. Sarah's still smooching Garrett. So Sarah's with the guy Garrett, who I showed you guys earlier, the true F-boy. And as you guys know from Bachelor, Garretts are just destined to be F-boys. It happens on The Bachelor. So this guy's like major F-boy vibes. And he doesn't quite deny it. I mean, what is he? He's trading crypto. If that's not a F-boy synonym, I don't know what is. Looking at you Bitcoin bros. All right, so CJ likes Casey, but calls him the hottest guy in Ohio, so she can't believe he's a nice guy, right? So CJ's into Casey. Sorry, that's not Casey. You guys saw Casey earlier. So CJ's into Casey. They are the first people to kiss that I saw on this show. Maybe I was wrong, but they clearly have a great connection. Casey has to sort of play his cool when she asks other guys on dates and just understand they have a good connection. I don't think CJ's going to find a better guy for her. I don't. I mean, he seems like he's got F-boy looks, but nice guy personality. We'll have to see if he's a nice guy or F-boy. Like, these are this is part of the shtick of the show, is that we're just not going to know. So anyway, eliminations. Nakia eliminates Jamie. CJ eliminates Mark, and Sarah eliminates Chris. Just, these bottom of the barrel. No offense to these guys. They just didn't have a connection with them, so they have to go. CJ likes Chris. So CJ likes Chris because he's her mole. So Chris is this guy who's been feeding CJ all the dish from inside the house, and no one knows he's feeding it to her. So CJ wants to save him. So even though Sarah voted off Chris, she's like, no, you can't vote off Chris. So we get to see the dynamic with the ladies kind of strategizing over who they want to vote off collectively. So CJ saves Chris, and then Matt goes, the guy who was initially saved. It's a dumpster. I think this is probably the weakest part of the show is the eliminations. But I understand they have to do it. They got to whittle the cast down. They can't, they got to show the women all these guys and let them make their decisions. So I understand it. I think this will be a little easier to recap once we get like half these guys out, but we'll have to see. So those were all 3 nice guys that went home. They didn't send home one F-boy, which is a big deal. Now they have a house full of F-boys here. So the 12 nice guys, 12 F-boys, the scale has leaned on more nice guys getting voted out. Matt spills dirt on Garrett. So as Matt's on the way out the door, he spills dirt on Garrett and says Greg has a girlfriend too. Garrett says he was in a 4 months. So this is Garrett right here. Let me find Garrett. That's not Garrett. Here's Garrett. So Garrett says he was in a 4-month relationship and took a break to come on the show. So after Garrett was not voted out, now the ladies know because he was dating Sarah. Him and Sarah had a pretty good connection. Go to Sarah here. Now Sarah's like, F that guy. So the whole episode 3 ends with Garrett getting called out for literally having a relationship right before the show, which honestly, again, I don't think that's a horrible idea. If your previous relationship sees you go on the show, you can't go back to that unless they just want to be walked over. And if you break up with someone to go on the show, the relationship wasn't that good in the first place. So I'm not taking the show too seriously, but we'll have to see how it all goes down. Let me know what you guys think. I think I'll be recapping the whole season, but if these videos just like bomb, I'm just not going to waste my time with it. I do enjoy the show. I like the sexiness of it. I like that it's more sort of social media influencer based with kind of the vibes they're setting up, and the show doesn't take itself too seriously. So all in all, a good show. Would I get HBO Max to watch this show? No, I don't think this would be a reason to subscribe to HBO. I just don't. It was named like the #1 HBO reality show of all time, but they're obviously not really known for their reality shows. So I don't know. Not yet, guys. Not yet. But maybe the show will go in a direction that's a little steamier. I did hear from Reality Steve that he said there'll be twists and turns throughout the season. I know he's kind of like kind of promoting the show too. So we'll have to see how it goes. But let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. And let me know if you think there's a good match that we don't see yet, which of the ladies you enjoy rooting for, and all that jazz. My question, too, is are any of these guys going to hit on Nikki? Because I think Nikki's single. So it'd be nice to see if Nikki gets in on the mix, even though she's the host of the show. If one of the guys hits on her, maybe they put them on a date, too. We'll have to see how it all goes down. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys later. Live stream today, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye now.